What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is going to be the season finale for Sisters season 2, episode 22. So we start this episode off with all the ladies meeting up at the down to the grocery store. We got Fatima and Zach then ran into all the women's. And Danny is doing what Danny does best, which is being annoying as hell. I have no idea why these women are friends with her. It's no way in hell. But she is sitting there basically letting everybody know that Karen and Zach had sex earlier that day. Telling everybody, that basically letting Fatima know what's going on with Karen and Zach. Now, her defense later on was, Karen is my girl and everybody needed to know everything because I didn't really appreciate that this was going on. But at the end of the day, it really was a coincidence. Nobody knew anybody's name. Zach kept saying his ex. He never called her by name. Fatima, when she would talk about Zach, she never called Zach by name. Even when they were together getting their hair done, they were both talking about their men's, but they never said any names. And so, Karen was like, well, what's going on? Like, are y'all together? Are y'all dating? And she was like, listen, I don't even know if you would call it dating. Danny was like, oh, so y'all just fucking? Like, that's what it is. Y'all just having sex? And she was like, and so, of course, it is awkward for everybody except for Danny, who is making the whole situation worse. Zach is like, let's go. I'm not doing this. I'm not having this conversation in the middle of the grocery store. And Karen insists on having the conversation. And, Karen really doesn't believe it. Like, so he just never said my name. He never said my name. And she was like, nah, he never said your name. And so they all end up leaving the damn grocery store. Fatima tells Zach, listen, I don't think it's a good idea for you to stay with me. Like, at this point, I don't know what it is. And Zach was like, see, that's not right. Because here's the problem. You don't even know what it is you want. You say you don't want a relationship, so we don't have a relationship. But you got a problem with the fact that I'm still seeing other people. She was like, yeah, but it's your ex. You still got feelings for her. Like, I know I have feelings for you. I don't know what this is that we doing, but I have feelings for you. And so this is just, I'm not cool with this. And she was like, you got money. He was like, all right, fine. I got money. Fine. That's what we doing. Okay, fine. So she ends up telling Zach he can't stay with her. Now, the ladies are in the car. And, of course, having that awkward conversation in the car on the way back. And Danny is being what Danny is. Danny was like, oh, my goodness, I can't believe this is the same woman. He used to talk about her so nice. He used to talk about, and, of course, they were like, Danny, you're not helping. She was like, nah. He would talk about how this woman treated him like a man, respected him like a man, basically allowed him to keep his dignity like a man. And I feel like she was saying that for Karen's purposes to understand, listen, I know you love Zach, but, you did treat Zach bad. And understand that he can go out here and find a woman that has his back. Fatima let them know when they were at the grocery store that that's how they met, was through the program. And Danny was like, oh, so you're the one that's been helping him out, right? So Danny's connecting all of these dots. But at the end of the day, Karen is still her girl. She crazy as hell. And her way of expressing it, of course, annoys everybody. And, that evening was over. This ain't gonna take long, y'all, because it just ain't. Calvin is at the apartment with Maurice, moping about Sabrina, going through her social media, wanting to know why, she done moved on, what happened between them, why they didn't work out. And Maurice finally tells him, Maurice was like, listen, at the end of the day, I think y'all were just moving a little too fast. Like, you were at a place that she wasn't at. Like, you were there faster than she was. And, y'all will find a way back to each other. And he was like, nah, not after the way I talked to her. She's probably never going to speak to me again. And he was like, well, you just got to give her some time, He was like, I don't know what I need to do. He was like, listen, well, one thing I can tell you is you got to do something different. You can't keep doing what you've been doing. You can't keep doing, the same thing you've been doing this whole time. Danny ends up dropping everybody off at home, child. Like I said, the night is over. So Danny gets to her apartment. And who was sitting up in her apartment with Preston? Zach. And Danny was like, nah, we're not doing this. You need to get up out of my apartment. And, Preston was like, well, I thought that was your friend. Like, I thought that was your friend. He was like, listen, And I guess because he had nowhere to go. Um, but she basically tells him, you can't stay here. You got to get up out of here. This me and my man. You know, I'm trying to spend some time with my man. I'm going to need you to go. So he ends up leaving. And she tells Preston, don't let him in here again. He was like, well, he was your friend. Like, I think he cool, but he your friend. So that's why I let him in the door. And she was like, well, don't do that no more. So they get to talking. And they sort of get into a little bit of a tiff. Because he says, I'm trying to help you. And with her, and in her mind, she translated help. I'm trying to help you, translated in her head to I'm trying to save you. And she was like, I don't need nobody to save me. And he was like, but, you know, I just want to help you. I just want to help you get to where you're trying to go, you know, be a better person or whatever. So she gets upset and they sort of have like a little fight. Now Sabrina's over at her apartment and she checks her phone and Calvin ain't called. Now what made you think Calvin was going to call you? I have no idea, but whatever. So then she ends up calling the dude, what's his name, Kwame, whatever the boy name is, down to the bank. Listen, y'all, that whole storyline makes me very uncomfortable. I have a really big problem with this, so I'm gonna run through this real quick because this storyline, it just really makes me uncomfortable. I'm telling you, he comes off very rapey. She calls him and he was like, oh, I'm on my way. And she was like, I didn't invite you over. He was like, girl, come on, stop playing. And she was like, I didn't invite you over. Like, I just wanted to talk. He was like, cool, then I can talk there in person. She was like, but I just wanted to have a conversation. He was like, listen, we grown. I'm on my way. I'll be there in 15 minutes. Now, Sabrina, you ain't have to open the door. I mean, let's just be clear. You didn't have to open the door, but you did. She called Danny, and Danny let her know that she felt uncomfortable with the conversation she had with Preston about him saving her. And Sabrina was like, listen, you just don't like people trying to help you because we've tried to help you and you don't like it. And she was like, no, because I don't need help. I don't need help. And she was like, but you do. And it's okay to accept help sometimes from people. It's okay to need help. Like, we all need help. And Preston is just trying to be a nice guy. He ain't looking for nothing. He's not trying to get nothing from you. He's just trying to help you. Then Sabrina tells Danny about the dude coming over. And Danny was like, oh, you got your little booty call coming through? And she was like, it's not a booty call. Danny was like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like, he coming over, it's late at night, it's a booty call. So the dude gets there, and I mean, he not even in the door good before he all on top of Sabrina. And Sabrina was like, no, let's just talk. And he was like, listen, I know that you a goody two shoes, and you gotta preserve your little image or whatever, but it's okay. Like, it's okay for us to enjoy each other. And he's kissing all on her, and she keeps telling him no, and he's like yes, and she's like no, and he's like yes, and then he pull out some weed. And I'm thinking to myself, let's not forget the fact that this is still your supervisor. Like, number one, sexual harassment. You shouldn't be dating this man, no way, because you are his supervisor. That's number one. Number two, he pulls out weed, and she's like, we test for that at work. Girl, you don't know him well enough to be breaking the rules. You don't know if he was sent there by management to see if y'all doing what y'all supposed to be doing. Like, you don't know this man. It's one thing to date him, which is bad enough. It's something totally different for you to involve yourself in smoking weed with this man. Knowing good and well that's very much against company policy. Anyway, next thing you know, they having sex, child. Somebody come knocking at the door. Of course it's Calvin. Sabrina tries to, hide what's going on. But of course, Calvin ends up seeing the naked man standing in the kitchen behind her. Whatever. Preston and Danny. Preston comes back. He tells Danny, listen, I just want to help you out. He didn't pay her rent 3 months in advance. And he said, I just, there's some things that I see that, I could just help you. He was like, I'm not trying to save you. I just want to help you. I just want us, there are things that I'm working on for, myself as well. Like, I'm not saying that I'm perfect and you're not. I'm just saying, these are some things that if we want to sort of move forward, we can work on together. And so, she's a little reluctant about it, but eventually, I think she understands where he's coming from. And they good. Sabrina, I mean, yeah, Karen done call, I'm sorry. Um, Daddy done call, Karen. And of course, Karen is upset. She not understanding, the situation, and she's got conflicting feelings. Now she wants to call Aaron, but she really wants to call Zach. But Zach is seeing somebody, but she really wants to talk to Aaron. I mean, it's just, she's conflicted. And, Andy tells her, listen, I don't really think you need to call either one of them right now. I think you need to just chill out, figure it out, figure out which way you want to go, left or right. But I think tonight you probably just need to chill. Now, while she's on the phone, Gary gets a phone call. She gets a phone call from the front desk. Gary wants to come up. And she was like, oh, that's weird. He has a key. Yeah, let him come up. So he gets upstairs, and she was like, well, where's your key? And he was like, I don't know. I couldn't find my car keys. I couldn't find, my key, my keys here. I think housekeeping at the hotel might have misplaced it. And Danny was like, he said, but I got him looking for it, So Andy was like, well, speaking of that, why don't you move in here? And he was like, move in? Like, are you sure? He was like, what your girls are going to think? And she was like, my girls love me, but at the end of the day, everything is my decision. And he was like, well, do they know everything? She was like, yeah, they know everything. He said, can you do me a favor? Like, moving forward in this relationship, can you not necessarily tell them everything? And she was like, I can do that. He was like, she said, I'm actually learning that lesson the hard way, that they don't need to know everything. So, of course they have, things are good. They end up having sex, honey. In the middle of the night, Andy wake up. Who's standing over the bed? His wife. Because, of course, his wife was the one that stole his keys, right? His wife is standing over the bed with a gun, talking about, I'm tired of this. I'm ending it now. And, of course, Andy was like, what are you doing in my house? Get out of my house. Next thing you know, Gary come out the bathroom talking about, what are you doing here? Get out of here. Get out of here. Baby, she done shot Gary, and she done turned the gun around on Andy. And that is where the episode ends, with Andy screaming, talking about some, no, don't do it, don't do it. Listen, that's it. That's all. Season 3 starts in June. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Peace.